Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Battle of the Bangers, Season 4. I'm your host. My name is Tyler, and I'm once again joined by the boys. We have Brennan.
What's going on, folks?
And we have Kyle.
Yo, how's it going?
So, welcome back. We are once again continuing the battle of the Sad Summerfest 2022 lineup, minus some bands, because we could only do 8. So, we're going to load up the bracket here, see what we got. Against the Current in the first round, took out Magnolia Park. Not very surprising, but a respectable match. Today, we have just... I don't understand how this is a first match. I mean, I do understand how this is a first match because of the way it's seeded based on listener count. But we have number 4 seed Mayday Parade going against number 5 seed State Champs. Guys, this one's gonna be rough. People are gonna be mad no matter who wins or loses. Possibly, probably me included. All I'm gonna say to alleviate myself from a lot of arguing and pain. Everybody knows that I have a very heavy bias towards State Champs. Literally everyone knows this. Even people who haven't met me, they look at me and they're like, "You're wearing a snapback backwards. You probably like State Champs." And yes, I do. And Mayday Parade, I shockingly never really got into that much. So I'm so biased in this that I can't even really throw my 2 cents in. I will at certain points, but I'm going to try to be kind of hands off on this one. I want you guys to make this decision for us to get me as less involved as possible. What band would you guys like to talk about first in this matchup of gods? We're gonna start with Mayday Parade.
Yeah, it's a higher seed, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man,
Brendan, I want you to talk about Mayday Parade first.
So I actually have a much deeper history with Mayday Parade than I do with State Champs. I listened to a lot of old Mayday Parade back in like middle school and high school. You're talking about like the EP Tales Told by Dead Friends. You're talking about A Lesson in Romantics. You know, they have another album, Anywhere But Here. Like all of those records were like quintessential in my youth. Very good songs off of all of them. Obviously, everybody's heard Jamie All Over. When I Get Home, You're So Dead was like an absolute classic back in the day. Just a lot of, I mean, I hold a lot of sentimental value with Mayday Parade's old stuff, but they are not nearly as good today, or even for a minute, that they were back when they first came out. I mean, time to go on another crazy analogy here, kind of like Linkin Park's career, where they released their absolute best stuff like right at the beginning and shortly after, and then immediately just go on a long descent down to the depths of like okay music.
Yeah.
So
I agree with that, honestly. I mean, I obviously didn't like listen to them a lot back in the day, but like I definitely think their older stuff is a lot better. Even outside of the fact that like they had a different vocalist for the beginning there, but like I think that just the older stuff was a lot like heavier hitting. I feel like the more current era of Mayday Parade is just like really like sad emo shit, which like just bums me out, and like I have to be in like a really bad mood to enjoy. So like that's just my take on them. Kyle, what do you think about good old Mayday Parade?
I mean, I also am like really nostalgic for the older stuff. I was in grade school, pulling my hair down really low, listening to Miserable at Best. Like, I'm just like like just little me, my hair pulled down to the side against the raining bus, the bus window, just Miserable at Best playing, like me, like. But I mean, because that song will always hit me right in the feels. But I love old Mayday Parade, and I mean personally, I kind of disagree with you guys a bit. I did enjoy new Mayday Parade a good bit, and my main reason for it is that I actually felt like the older Mayday Parade just felt very passion driven, which is like the nicest way I can say, kind of sloppy at times. Like old Mayday Parade, it just feels like a bunch of guys got together, they made music and had a lot of passion in it. And that's a great thing. It feels really good. But then you like flash forward to like their newest stuff, and I really feel like it's just like really like thought out. There's like some really solid instrumentals throughout that like I feel like you didn't always get in old Mayday Parade. You didn't have like layered moments as often as you do nowadays. I like, especially like there are just like sometimes, I think it was it Kids of Summer, perhaps.
I actually really liked that song.
I did too.
Like
that song, and then a couple others that I can't think of off the top of my head from that newest album. They have like these really fluid change ups in some instrumentals that like old Mayday Parade never would have done. And I'm just like, that's really cool. It feels like this band has become something else. And to a lot of people, I feel like maybe they won't like that as much. But to me, I see growth, and I still like feel like I feel that core of the old Mayday in this Mayday. It just feels like they like got more mature. They learned like how to like really play their instruments, really like just kind of like set it up, create a really cool cohesive piece, and it sounds dope. Yeah. I like it. I
wouldn't say that like new age Mayday Parade is like bad by any, like they're still very good. It's just like it's harder for me to find songs that I would listen to frequently because so much of their current stuff is just so fucking depressing that it's like Jesus Christ, like who listens to this on a daily basis? Like that's just wow. This is heavy stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. State Champs, I feel like tends to be a lot more like roll your windows down in the summer, go have a party with the boys type shit. Alternatively,
yeah.
Brennan, we're gonna throw it back to you. What do you think about State Champs? We know you don't like the current album, the newest album, but no. Outside of that,
I mean, I think kind of similarly, but not all at the same time. State Champs does have two really solid albums, and then of course it's the Finer Things and Around the World and Back. And you can also throw in the Around the World and Back Deluxe. Oh my god, re-release, all that good shit. Because it does have Slow Burn on it. I think Slow Burn's an actual bop.
Oh yeah.
I think these two records are like the strongest representation of State Champs, because a lot of their stuff since then, Kings of the New Age, is kind of weak and very samey, like not in a good way. Because Around the World and Back, I mean, yeah, the album's kind of samey, like same with the Finer Things, but like it feels more like they had more like invested into it back then. Like, they were a younger band. They were just getting their name out there. The Finer Things kind of put them on the map, and then like Around the World and Back like established them on the pop punk map. And I like every time I listen to those records, listen to songs off those records, I think of like when we were driving back from Lancaster. And
oh yeah,
you played both of them like back to back, and you're like, dude, I know every word about these albums. Oh my god!
And then I did.
and then like listening to it, I was like, man, like this is good pop punk. Like Tyler said, roll your windows down. Eventually you get to your destination. You get a car, crack a couple beers. Maybe have a bonfire with the boys. Like, that is State Champs, and for me, that is these two records from State Champs. Everything else is either okay or, in my opinion, very mediocre. Just how it is. But still, these two records, phenomenal pop punk, for sure.
Kyle, I know that you and I did not hate the newest album.
I like the new album a lot. My main thing, and I've said it before, State Champs, they gonna give you that pop punk, and they gonna give it to you good. That's what they're gonna do, without fail. Sometimes it's really gonna catch my attention, and other times, like you said, Brennan, I'm gonna open a brewski and miss that it happened. But am I gonna vibe still because it's still good pop punk? Yeah, they're never gonna make a bad pop punk song.
Well, they did once, but like we don't talk about that one.
What do you think I'm doing? But majority time,
Yeah.
when I turn on a state champs, like if I hit shit, if I just hit shuffle, my brain died and I shit. Anyways, that was weird. Anytime I hit shuffle on state champs' entire discography, I'm most likely gonna vibe. I'm gonna vibe really hard, and at times I'm gonna really go hard. And I think the cool thing about state champs too is that like, no matter what, like, I guess I kind of said it already, but like they just always do good pop punk. What else is there to say about this band? Do they try stuff? They had a country singer on the new album. Cool. But like it's just the pop punk I come here for. I don't have much else to say about State Champs.
And that's one of the reasons that I love State Champs. I wholeheartedly agree with Brennan. Like the Finer Things, Around the World and Back are the peak of their career. Around the World and Back is one of my favorite albums of all time. Like top 5 albums ever from any band.
Hell yeah.
Just because I have a lot of attachment to it. But like I also like the albums after that, just not to the same degree. And I think that might be partially because of nostalgia. And that might be partially because they're just objectively better. But like there's still a lot to like, in my opinion, from the current stuff. Yes, State Champs is very samey, like they don't push the envelope, but like Kyle was saying, you don't need to push the envelope when you just do pop punk in such a quality way, like 9 times out of 10. Like, I'm not always going to I'm not always going to get my socks blown off by what they release. Nowadays, I typically don't get my socks blown off by what they release, but I at least know that it's a song that is not going to actively piss me off. It is a song that I will vibe with to some degree. And that's why they're one of my favorite bands. And it's obviously why I can't vote on this. But I'll pose you guys with this argument when we're comparing the bands. We've talked about how State Champs kind of has that level of like consistency with like the quality of their music. And we've talked about how Mayday Parade has like sort of just changed into like a different band. Like, do we think that Mayday Parade... Like, I guess, which band do we think has like more low points, and which band do we think has like more high points consistently throughout?
That's an interesting question, actually, because they both might be Mayday Parade.
As crazy as that is, yeah,
it might be Mayday Parade. Which is interesting. It is a very interesting argument. I mean, I don't know. To me, when I look at these two bands side by side, I think they're both giants. I respect them both a ton. I have a lot more nostalgia for Mayday Parade, and albums like A Lesson in Romantics are always going to like hold a really special place in my heart, as well as the other ones around it. But I don't know. A Lesson in Romantics is what really got me. But I don't know. I mean, the fact that like, if you're putting into the scope of like the best bands in pop punk sad Summerfest realm, you know, which one of them actually fits that criteria better? To me, and to Tyler, for sure, I feel like I'm leaning a little bit more to State Champs. Unfortunately, because I think Mayday Parade's cool.
I will say that like, as far as sad Summerfest go, as a guy who, well, I guess I could pose this to Brandon as well, because he was there for the first year when both of these bands played like back to back at the first sad Summerfest. I personally, and this might be because I didn't know any Mayday Parade songs at the time, but I thought that the State Champs set was a lot more like energetic, a lot more fun than the Mayday Parade set, because I felt that like Mayday Parade played a lot of emo shit and like get your lighters out stuff. And then it was like, and crowd surfing still happened, and I got injured, and it was just, I don't know. I felt that like in a live setting at this exact festival, for what we were comparing them, State Champs was better for that environment. Would you agree with that? Since you were there for that as well?
Yeah, but that's... I mean, in that particular parameter, yes. However, I feel like Mayday Parade, now, I mean, maybe it's just nostalgia just gripping me, but Mayday Parade, like their highs, in my opinion, like are vastly higher than state champs. They just have tracks that go many different places, bring like many different dynamics to the table. And I mean, yeah, maybe in the newer stuff, maybe they execute it better, but they are littered with emo stuff nowadays. But like the first 3 or 4 records from Mayday Parade were incredible. While with state champs, I mean, this is just me talking. I mean, you guys probably don't share this opinion, but they only really have 2 records that, in my opinion, are like actually really good. And the rest of it is just falls off from there. Albeit none of it's really bad. I don't even hate Kings of the New Age. It's just, compared to their older stuff, it's very lackluster in my opinion. But I mean, if we're gonna go to votes, I mean, my vote's fucking Mayday Parade all day long for sure.
Ooh.
Kyle. Kyle. you have a lot of. You're basically the tiebreaker because we already know I can't not pick state champs. It'd go against everything I stand for. So and Kyle, it's not even you are about to decide the fate of like possibly the hottest match of this entire bracket.
Wow. I guess I should have figured it was going to go this way because like Brennan actively shits on state champs, and one of them actively preaches them to people's doorsteps.
That's the thing. Everything that was argued about state champs before with them being good is totally factual. It's just, that you guys have brought up, I'm in total agreement with. But they only have 2 good records, in my opinion.
So
I just think it's weird because like you also agreed at the beginning that like, or you even stated yourself that like, Mayday Parade has also fallen off in recent years. So like, doesn't that kind of like counteract?
No, because the body of work that Mayday Parade had that was actually good is way bigger than what State Champs has.
Okay.
I don't know. I think kind of go off what you said, Brennan. Because I'm like just absolutely squeezing my brain like a fucking wet rag trying to figure out what to do here. I don't agree, obviously, and you even said you don't think that we would agree, that like every other album other than those 2 albums from State Champs are gonna be like they are just not that great. And I agree that like I also think that neither of these bands have like an actual low point. Like to me, neither of them have really created anything bad to me. Anytime listening to either of these bands, I've never had a bad time, which I can't say about the other side of this bracket. But I think that fuck, Brendan, that last argument really hit me. Fuck.
Hey, I mean, dude, however you're gonna vote, so however you're gonna vote.
God, do I like...
What is your heart telling you, Kyle?
No.
Which of us do you like better as a person?
That is loaded.
You know what? Brennan, you put something in perspective for me that I wasn't thinking about before we got here. And it's that, the absolute fucking highs of Mayday Parade are just, like, groundbreaking. Like, they legitimately, like, you talked about how old those albums are. Like, they kind of shaped the fucking scene. They really did, in a lot of ways. That's monumental. And in my opinion, the band has not necessarily fallen off, but have, like, changed and grown into something else. And to me, I also... If we're being honest, there's some really emo shit on those old Mayday Parade albums.
Not wrong.
So have they just changed and grown with us over time, and now they're just a more mature beast that is still doing kind of similar shit? I understand that it's not the easy, like, you don't just turn that shit on to vibe with like you do with State Champs. But they're still making good music, in my opinion. Whereas... While I don't agree completely with Brendan that only 2 albums from State Champs are great, I also think that those 2 albums are really highs, and everything else, like I said, I'll turn on and I'll kind of miss that it happened because I'm just vibing with them. Man, I came into this thinking I was going to go State Champs. But then when we've talked about it and the way my heart's feeling, I'm going to have to go Mayday Parade. I'm so sorry, Tyler.
To be fair, Kyle, I went into this knowing that Mayday Parade was going to win. So, like, yeah, cool. I can't be too mad because I've prepped myself for this for a month, being like, State Champs will lose in the first round.
It's the worst
Man,
matchup for them.
Yeah,
they could have.
Yeah.
They probably had a better chance at beating everyone else in this fucking bracket almost.
Yeah,
Like-
on the next side of the bracket, I would say probably,
for sure,
possibly.
for sure.
But yeah, that's the way the news goes. Mayday Parade is moving on to the semifinals where they will take on against the current. That's gonna be several episodes from now because next week we're starting on the other side of the bracket with Water Parks versus the Somerset. Wow, high-pitched voices all around on the next episode. Here we go, baby. All right. Well, thank you for tuning in to this installment of Battle of the Bangers. If you liked this, please let us know by giving us a physical like down in the corner. Just clickety-clack that and let us know that you liked it because it really does help out a lot. And let us know in the comments below which band you think is better between Mayday Parade and State Champs. Again, I don't think there's really a wrong answer for this. This really could have gone either way.
There really isn't.
I don't think we've had like a first round, like a preliminary round of anything that's been like that colossal of like a matchup. So yeah, that was wild. Also, subscribe to Talks a Lot Boys if you haven't done so already, because if you do and you ring a dong the bell, then you'll get notified when the next installment of this wonderful, fun little series comes up, and anything else we happen to post, because we do stuff outside of this, if you didn't already know. Yeah, but that's going to be it for today. We've been the Talks a Lot Boys, and we will talk a whole lot more next time.